What if the next seismic shift in the NBA isn't about a rising star or a forgotten rookie, but the restless king himself, whose shadow looms large over every locker room he's ever entered? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. The drama surrounding LeBron James, the Los Angeles Lakers' legendary forward, is anything but settled as we edge closer to what promises to be a volatile 23rd season in the most storied career basketball has ever witnessed. Picture this, 40-year-old Titan still defying the odds, commanding a $52.6 million contract. Yet hovering eerily in limbo, the eternal question hanging in the Bay Area air is this: will LeBron remain a Laker, or is the labyrinthine front office chess game steering him toward the Golden State Warriors' doorstep? Behind the scenes, multiple NBA powerhouses, notably the Warriors, have kept a relentless, albeit subtle, watch on King James, a rare franchise fascination fueled not only by his 4 NBA championships but by an almost intangible hunger to cement a late-career legacy that transcends mere statistics. Sources including ESPN's Ramona Shelburne and Brian Windhorst report that Golden State didn't merely flirt with this seismic trade. They aggressively pursued it during the 2023-24 season, orchestrating what some insiders call a legitimate push to bring LeBron's once-in-a-generation talent into the Bay Area fold. This pursuit reached a fever pitch after LeBron opted into his hefty Lakers contract last June, a move some interpret as strategic patience buying time, not a loyalty contract, possibly stalling for the perfect storm of trade pieces and timing that could finally pry him away from the purple and gold. The audacity here is immense, trying to acquire a 40-year-old whose greatness has etched itself not only in NBA lore, but across the entire landscape of sports history. A 21-time All-Star whose very name conjures memories of championship glory and playoff battles that have shaped a generation. And what better stage than Chase Center, where the echoes of Splash Brothers' dominance mix with whispers of a new era in the making? Yet, questions abound. Would the Lakers dare sell their crown jewel to a division rival whose core Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and rising phenoms like Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody is a fusion of championship pedigree and youthful promise? Could Golden State sweeten the pot enough to make an offer too tantalizing for Los Angeles to resist? As of now, the answer remains cloaked in uncertainty. The Warriors' last attempts, while serious, never crossed the Rubicon into a done deal. But imagine the seismic shockwaves such a trade would unleash, not only shaking the foundation of the Western Conference, but rewriting the saga of both franchises forever. Could this whispered trade be the silent pivot that eclipses even the seismic Kevin Durant era, turning a new page in the Warriors' quest to recapture that elusive dynastic magic? Or is it a tantalizing mirage, a late-career gamble too colossal to risk, ultimately destined to linger as off-season lore? LeBron himself has openly expressed a desire to share the floor with Curry, a wish that, on paper, ignites the imagination of every Dub Nation Warrior as it stirs visions of Steph and LeBron combining their explosive talents, blending veteran savvy and championship hunger into an unstoppable force. Yet, the emotional weight is immense. Memories of past playoff scars, triumphs, and the rise and fall of dynasties shadow this potential union, reminding us that in the NBA, the brightest lights can cast the darkest shadows. The 2016 Finals, the Game 7 collapse, the miraculous championship. Comeback in Cleveland, each chapter of LeBron's journey is etched in both triumph and heartbreak. Now, transplant him into the Warriors' ecosystem of unselfish motion offense and suffocating small ball defense. Would it be the perfect marriage of mind and muscle, or would clashing egos and clashing legacies fracture that delicate chemistry? But let's dig even deeper into the chessboard. The Warriors' salary cap sheet is a labyrinth of deadline trades, mid-level exceptions, and future draft considerations. To absorb LeBron's contract, they'd have to move significant salary, Andrew. Wiggins, Jordan Poole, possibly Chris Paul's expiring contract, while still preserving enough draft capital to keep their rebuild on-the-fly ethos alive. What if they offered Anthony Lamb, a sharpshooting rookie, alongside draft protections, plus Andrew Wiggins and premium role players like Jonathan Kuminga, chasing a LeBron plus Curry plus Green triumvirate that defies conventional roster construction? But what if that deal undercuts the Warriors' depth, leaving them vulnerable beyond the depth lineup minutes, forcing Draymond to shoulder even more burden as ball handler and defensive anchor, or compelling young wings like Kuminga and Moody into roles they're not ready to fill? How would Kerr balance minutes between age, experience, and rising potential? And what if this experimental super team sputters in the regular season, unable to overcome the inevitable chemistry growing pains? At the same time, rival suitors hover in the shadows. The Miami Heat, ever the dark horse, reportedly gauged LeBron's interest if he desired to return to Florida roots, ready to offer Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson, and draft picks in exchange for a momentary reunion. Would LeBron's love for the Lakers' legacy prevail over a swan song in South Beach, replicating the iconic back-to-back titles of 2012-13? And what if the Lakers smell blood in the water, LA sitting heavy in cap space in 2025? Their long-awaited big-name free agent haul finally on the horizon. Would they stonewall the Warriors' advance, refusing to trade their king for a knockoff dynasty, preferring instead to maintain cap flexibility for Anthony Davis extensions, or pursue franchise cornerstones like Victor Wembanyama? Layer in the personal dynamics. Jeanie Buss, custodian of the Lakers' regal legacy, faces pressure from fans and media, alike some urging her to simply keep LeBron at all costs, others whispering that a clean break, a bold rebuild, is the only way forward once LeBron's twilight years dim. What if Jeanie's leadership is challenged by the Buss family power struggle, siblings vying for influence, or by Jerry West's whisper campaign behind the scenes, all while Rob Pelinka scrambles to keep contract negotiations intact with other key role players like D'Angelo Russell or Austin Reeves? Each decision resonates like a pebble dropped in a pond, sending ripples through the locker room culture and the wider fan base. And what of LeBron's own inner conflict? Player promos reveal his fascination with rekindling rivalries against the Warriors, the Lakers-Warriors saga of the early 2010s, defined by fierce playoff battles, two teams at the pinnacle of basketball artistry clashing in titanic struggles. Does LeBron see joining Golden State as a betrayal of that storied rivalry, a tacit admission that his Lakers legacy has reached its end? Or is it the ultimate power move, the final mic drop of a career that's already defied time itself? What if, in private, he wrestles with the promise of 2 more rings in the Bay Area versus the sentimental pull of Staples Center's rafters, where fans once chanted his name in adulation, where every corner of that floor holds a memory of both glory and agony? The financial calculus is equally brutal. LeBron's massive contract and his skyrocketing player option for 2025 to 26 shift the balance of power. If the Warriors hold off and allow him to become a free agent, they risk losing out to other cash-rich franchises. But if they strike now, they tie up precious cap space and future picks, possibly handicapping their ability to chase younger talent. And what if this mad scramble to acquire LeBron triggers a domino effect across the league? Teams like the Suns, the Clippers, the Celtics reconfigure their rosters overnight, initiating a flurry of blockbuster trades and free agent dances that leave us all breathless? Yet at its core, this isn't merely a story of contracts and cap sheets. It's an emotional odyssey. For Warriors fans who lived through the heartbreak of 2019, when Kevin Durant's torn Achilles sealed the Warriors' decline, this trade could either revive our souls or shatter them anew. What if adding LeBron propels us back to the mountaintop, forging a new golden era that future fans study with reverence? Or what if this gamble backfires, leaving the Warriors with a fractured identity, their own legends left yearning for the unity that once defined them? As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, My pulse is racing just writing this. But is this the spark that reignites our dynasty, or the crack that fractures our legacy? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. If you just sat there, heart thumping and mind racing at the thought of LeBron in a Warriors jersey, I need you to lock eyes with this moment right now and say it loud. Could this be the final, defining chapter of the Splash era, or the unraveling we never saw coming? Because listen, this isn't just another off-season rumor swirling around the league. This is the tectonic pressure building under the Bay, threatening to either elevate our dynasty to untouchable heights or crack the foundation we fought so fiercely to lay. Imagine the locker room chemistry, a swirling storm of genius and ego ready to collide. Steph Curry, the relentless orchestrator, whose ball-handling wizardry and gravity-defying threes have changed what every guard now dreams to be. Draymond Green, the emotional core, the cerebral attacker whose defense anchors this team, but whose fiery temperament can either ignite his teammates or fracture trust in an instant. Klay Thompson, the silent assassin, the blueprint for loyal resilience. It's one thing to fight on the same side as these warriors deep-rooted in their identity. It's another to graph on LeBron James, a king used to commanding floors, governing locker rooms, wielding the power to bend franchises around him and remake them in his image. The whispers from the Chase Center's inner sanctum say this was more than a shot in the dark. It was an adrenaline-fueled pursuit, one where Warriors brass pushed boundaries, tested loyalties, and calculated risks like decades of championship brain trust converged in a fever dream. But here's the gut punch. Does the team's delicate balance survive the seismic jolt of adding a player whose legacy often clashed with Golden State's? Think back to those playoff battles, the bitter endings to our championship runs at the hands of LeBron-fueled teams, or the sheer dominance that only he seemed able to summon in those critical moments. How do you layer that complex relationship between respect, rivalry, and rivalry-born grudges onto a locker room that thrives on cohesion and shared history? Where does young blood like Kuminga and Moody fit, two rising stars on the cusp of their own legacies, when the spotlight gets colossal enough to eclipse them? Does Wiggins, our oft-maligned but vital two-way warrior, lose his role or gain a mentor's wisdom? And then there's Kerr, a coaching genius always 3 moves ahead. Does the blueprint that sculpted 5 straight finals appearances bend to accommodate this new godlike version of team? Or does it crumble? Picture the tension in that film. Room, the endless chess matches of rotations, possessions, and egos. It's a high-wire act without a safety net. The other side of this is the Lakers' mindset, too selling off LeBron to a West rival. The rivalry flames would leap off the charts instantly. If the Warriors play hardball and the Lakers blink, that would mean a willing fracture in the status quo, a shakeup that could accelerate the Warriors' window to reclaim a throne believed by many to be lost after Kevin Durant's departure. And from LeBron's angle, a move to Golden State would signal a final quest, a bid to cement a mixed legacy, that of a player who refused to bow to youth fading, who adapted, evolved, and attempted to lead a new super team, not by creating pure spacing but by blending old-school dominance with splash-era sharpshooting. The media narratives would explode. LeBron joins the Warriors, steals Curry's thunder. Or Steph and LeBron, the ultimate fusion or the ultimate betrayal. Fans around the league would be forced to recalibrate everything. Would there be chemistry or chaos? Would the Warriors find themselves a dynasty reborn or a house divided ripe for collapse? Think about those raw moments, Steph's fire showing even when the shot isn't falling, Draymond throwing down with referees and sometimes teammates, Klay quietly swallowing the pressure, the young guys eager but untested, and then insert the brewing presence of LeBron, whose mere arrival demands deference and commands the spotlight. The emotional intensity would shoot through the roof, not just for players, but for the entire Dub Nation community. No more comfortable certainty of the same old Warriors narrative. We'd be forced to confront whether this is reinvention or reckoning. I can almost see Steph's steely eyes narrowing, a spark of determination mixing with uncertainty, because while he's fought through injuries, critics, and dynastic shifts, nothing could prepare him for the seismic earthquake of playing alongside a man who reshaped basketball history so profoundly, yet also symbolizes a rival past. The tensions would swirl not only on the court, but in every post-game interview, every heated exchange during practice, every locker room meeting where the fragile balance of friendship, respect, and competition is tested on a daily basis. Coaching staff's task? Herculean integration of personalities, massive egos, and shifting roles while maintaining the soul of a team that's already a perfect storm of talent and turbulence. And if it fails? If the leads don't sink, if the pace slows, if energy flags, all bets will be off. This is no fairy tale resurrection. It's a razor's edge walk across the biggest stage basketball has ever seen, where one misstep could splinter a franchise's identity from the inside out. Yet, if it works, if Curry's unparalleled shooting pairs with LeBron's all-time playmaking and leadership, if Draymond's defense unleashes the best version of both, if Kuminga and Moody learn from the greatest and the greatest shooters of this era, if Kerr, the chess master, pulls the strings perfectly, we could watch a dynasty that defies time itself. A team rewriting the rulebook on aging superstars, super teams, and championship legacies. As someone who's worn those blue and gold colors through every heartbreak, every game-winning shot from half court, every controversial call and euphoric parade, I feel it in my bones. This is the moment when the Warriors franchise stands at a crossroads more critical than any in the last decade. The fire inside Dub Nation's collective heartbeat is pounding either into history or heartbreak. And that's what makes this the most electrifying time to be a Warriors fan. So now, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. Don't hold back or sanitize your thoughts. Blast your hottest, rawest takes in the comments below. Tell me, are we witnessing a late career masterpiece in the making, or the final dangerous gamble before the dynasty dissolves? I'll be there waiting, ready to dive deep, argue fiercely, and stand with every true believer who bleeds the pride, the pain, and the potential of this extraordinary run. This isn't just basketball. This is Dub Nation's soul on the brink.